Welcome, one and all, to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. Coronavirus is all anybody's talking about it, and I'll talk about it some more tonight in tonight's edition of Going Viral.
Touch my body!
Now, there are now how many? Over 900 confirmed cases of the coronavirus in 36 states. And one of the worst hit states is right here, New York. Start spreading the flus. Much of the activity here has centered around suburban New Rochelle, which has the largest cluster of these cases in the United States. Well, this afternoon, we got a big announcement from New York governor and man who just heard someone cough. Andrew Cuomo. Governor Cuomo announced plans to enforce a containment area for a 1-mile radius around the center of the cluster. Oh, what a cluster suck. As part of the response, Governor Cuomo has called in the National Guard. The National Guard. Containment area. These are Family Feud answers for the question, name something you hear in a zombie apocalypse. Show me, oh God, he's eating my brain. Now, the National Guard is not there to enforce the containment area. Instead, they're going to help with the cleaning of public spaces and to deliver food to homes. And I think we have a picture of the area's new Dominos delivery guy. But this is a very brave action being taken by these guardsmen. So, guardsmen, I salute you. Oh, and I'm touching my face. Okay. Now, people in the area can still travel freely, but the containment zone blocks any large public gatherings in the area to prevent further transmission of the virus. Oh, so it's just a precaution, nothing to worry about. In fact, Governor Cuomo tried to calm anxious residents, saying, this is literally a matter of life and death. Show me literally a matter of life and death. Nice. Big choice, but a good one. Number one answer. Yesterday, New York State announced that it will be producing its own hand sanitizer to be available at local government and state agency offices. And since it's New York, it will also be available on a folding table next to a fake Louis Vuitton clutch, used paperbacks, and a bootleg DVD of Mr. Popper's Penguins. Now, when Governor Cuomo made the announcement, he did it with style.
Open the curtain, please. We are introducing New York State Clean hand sanitizer, made conveniently by the state of New York.
Here's what troubles me. I shouldn't be this excited about a pyramid of hand sanitizer. But that's not that great of a... If this was The Price is Right, when that curtain opened, it would have sounded like this. Now, that is true.
That's what it sounds like, right on it.
The governor helpfully demonstrated how to use hand sanitizer.
It has a very nice floral bouquet. A little, I detect a lilac, hydrangea, tulips.
Let's see, lilac, hydrangea, tulips. And since this is New York, all of that is being overpowered by garbage and subway poop that you hope is from a dog. Although, don't get too excited about that floral bouquet, as Cuomo explains.
Just to clarify, I said this had a floral bouquet. That was a joke.
It's not really a joke if you just say something that could be true, but isn't. Hey, guys, it's my birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Pfft, it's not my birthday. That was a joke. Hey, everybody, Ted here thinks I tell the truth when I talk. What a jackass. By the way, why does everyone hate me? Fear of the virus has had a huge effect on the economy. Yesterday, the Dow fell 2,000 points. So the president immediately held a press conference to announce his plan to have a plan to do stuff.
We're going to be meeting with House Republicans, Mitch McConnell, everybody, and discussing a possible payroll tax cut or relief, substantial relief, very substantial relief. We're also going to be talking about hourly wage earners getting help so that they can be in a position where they're not going to ever miss a paycheck. We're going to be working with companies and small companies, large companies, a lot of companies, so that they don't get penalized for something that's not their fault.
I'm here with Mitch McConnell and others, with everybody, to announce some hastily thrown together measures that I feel like I'm just throwing handfuls of dry dog food at a charging tiger. But here's a tax cut, or maybe some loans, or substantial reliefs for everybody. Small companies, fat companies, sexy companies, ugly companies. Tell me when one of these works. Does anybody send up a flare? It's going for my...
Today, Trump emerged to address a worried nation about the virus from the Capitol building's official Chamber of Echoes.
Just stay calm, it will go away. Be calm. It's really working out, and a lot of good things are going to happen.
Really? Because that's what I kept telling myself about you, and 3 years in, no good things have happened. The president seemed to downplay how many Americans might be in danger.
Have you been briefed that up to 100 million Americans could ultimately be exposed to the virus?
I've been briefed on every contingency you can possibly imagine. Many contingencies, a lot of positive, different numbers, all different numbers, very large numbers, and some small numbers too, by the way.
Big numbers like 17 Brazilian. Small numbers like 3, and it's a 3 in a really, really tiny font, really tiny T. The point is, I know all the numbers and most of the letters. L, P, M, Q.
You'd think Trump would be taking the threat of the coronavirus more seriously than this, since he might have it. You see, someone at the Political Conservative Action Conference, or CPAC, later tested positive for coronavirus, and some Republicans, like Senator Ted Cruz and Representatives Paul Gosar and Matt Gaetz, have had to self-quarantine at home. Our thoughts and prayers are with their families. The most recent person in Trump's orbit to self-quarantine is Representative Mark Meadows, who President Trump just last week selected as his next acting chief of staff. That is a rough start to the new job. Welcome aboard, Mark. Okay, here's your key card. Snack room's down there. Parking is in the rear. Now get out of here for 2 weeks while we burn everything you touched. One Republican who has refused to self-quarantine is Texas Representative Louie Gohmert, seen here snorting the steeple. Gohmert also came in contact with a coronavirus patient at CPAC, but he has declined to self-isolate after a physician said he could return to work if he observed proper hygiene protocols. Sounds okay? But yesterday, rather than limit non-essential interactions, Gohmert chose instead to lead a large group of children around the Capitol that consisted of well over 100 kids. Okay, line up, you little disease vectors. You know the expression, the children are our future? Well, we're going to test that theory today, okay? High five, everybody. Come on. High. At the economic press conference, reporters asked Mike Pence about whether Trump has been tested.
Has the president been tested? He's been in contact with people who were in proximity to somebody who had the virus.
Let me be sure and get you an answer to that. I honestly don't know the answer to the question.
We don't know the answer to that question because we keep putting the swabs in his mouth and he keeps eating them. He thinks they're tiny cotton candies. So President Trump, who is now surrounded by people who have gone into self-quarantine, still hasn't been tested for coronavirus. That means we'll just have to keep our eyes open for any signs of sickness, like mental fogginess or poor sleep or thinning hair or strange coloring. Not only has Trump not been tested, he seems proud of the fact that he's not taking any precautions to protect the people around him. For instance, yesterday, Trump arrived in Florida and immediately began shaking hands with people waiting at the airport. Yikes! That's like not using protection when having sex with a porn star you just met at a golf tournament. Who would do that? Who would? Get that. We've got a great show for you tonight. Charles Barkley is here. And when we come back, Joe Biden gets feisty.